Hello, thanks for tuning in. Today I'd like to wax about the idea that we have forgotten our place in the world. Many of us have forgotten our place in the world, and well, some of us are trying to find our way back to the mountain of life. Jordan Peterson is a great teacher, and he's talked a lot about the House of Babel and what that story means, and so I'll give you my interpretation of that particular story. And it's a phenomenal story. The idea that we could build the house, that man himself could rise to the top of the mountain and disconnect from source, disconnect from God, disconnect from our spiritual source, and so on. And that's what the House of Babel was about, that we could keep building and building and we would reach the sky, that man, it was an egocentric position of man, that we could reach the skies without God in our sails. And it's no better to predict a future if you watch if you map certain behavioural patterns of people. Like, for example, if you drink a glass of whiskey right now and then a second glass and a third glass, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning with a hangover. And if you continue to drink whiskey every day, you're not only going to wake up with a hangover every day, you're going to destroy your family, the spiritual connection you have to your family, you're going to destroy your own health, your own well-being, your own place in the world, the path that you are on, and you're going to fall off the edge. Now, everybody can predict that. It's not a hard thing to predict. But the House of Babel kind of tells a story in the collective sense. And in a sense, we're all drunk. We've all destroyed the body. We've all drank too much, too much material gain. We've stuffed our faces. We've stuffed ourselves with cake and materialism and so on. And we're always trying to fill the void. And we're trying to fill the void because we're not spiritually connected. So the idea that man would disconnect from source and lose his or her place in the world. Let's just give you a prime example of that. On Wall Street today and in all the banking institutions around the world, it's all about making money at the expense of. That seems to be the case, okay? Maybe somebody will put me right and I've got my facts wrong, but the figures seem to indicate, that all the world of money, is a world of corruption, and each individual on Wall Street or in bank or wherever around the world right now is operating, and they're not connected to source. So we can see this in relation to how what they do pans out. Farmers are being removed from their land so we can build, hotels, okay? That means people are about making a profit from it. And that's their only concern, okay? They're going to move people, they're restructuring this, the whole countries. They're forcing countries to, filter the money a certain way so the big boys can make more pennies, basically. You get the drift. But my point being is they've forgotten source. They've forgotten their place in the world. There is no spiritual connection to the world on Wall Street. The idea we're cutting up rainforests, we're chopping down our rainforests, for more material gain is a lack of spiritual connection. Okay, the idea that we can build empires without God in our sail. That's us losing our place in the world. We're drunk on ego. We're drunk on this anthropomorphic egocentrism. We really are drunk in it. We've lost our way. We've wobbled off the path. And those who are, who have lost spirit the most, and those who are in the big powerful positions of power, they're dragging the world down into a hole with them. And like I said, people are standing out from our entire spiritual legacy. The idea we've come up out of a monkey head and we're trying to find connection in this universe. We're trying to know one another. We're trying to come together around a circle. We're trying to love one another. I'm all for children around the world. I don't want children bombed. Look what's happening in Palestine. I don't want Israeli children bombed either. People are mangling each other up, and there's just so much profit involved in it. And this only speaks of individuals who've lost their place in the world, like I've said. They're disconnected from source. And we scan our minds around the world right now and look at all the corruption, all the damage being done to one another. There's no spirit in any of it. The idea you would wake up today and walk into your job and your only goal is to make profit for you and your family and you and your family alone, and damn the consequences. There's no spirit in that. Now, there's spirit in me by trying to bring that to you. I'm trying to connect to even the bankers. There's a spiritual connection and ask them to come back to source. Reconnect with your spiritual source. And it doesn't have to be about a God in the sky. Okay, religion has been distorted. There's no doubt about that. But that doesn't mean the God story is over. I'm always waxing about this. It doesn't mean just because, we've killed off the big funky God in the sky and the devil in hell, and that whole paradigm has been behind us now. And those stories were told for certain reasons, just like the House of Babel. Just because we've killed off the idea of this magic God in the sky doesn't mean our understanding of God is dead. We're just a primitive species. But just from a spiritual standpoint, The idea there's a spiritual connection to one another. If you do not feel that spiritual connection, if you have no empathy with your brother and sister all over the world, and if you are happy to exploit them, there's pathological damage there somewhere. I truly believe that. There's psychopathy by degree in that, and narcissism and sadism and so on. You know, so like I said, you know, the idea that we can move forward and not act as a single collective head shows that we've lost our place in the world. The truth is, I don't think we've ever actually found our place in the world. That's another story. We've not found our place. We haven't got a single blueprint, a single ontological blueprint yet to ground ourselves in, something else I'm always waxing about. But just in relation to the spiritual connection to your own species and the spiritual connection to honour and dignity, surely these things matter in your life. And if you're about exploiting the world for your own personal gain, well, you have no honour and you have no dignity. That's just how it is. You know, you can't go bragging up that flag if it's not part of you, if it's not part of your spiritual wholeness. And the idea that you have lost your place, that you would stand aside from man and woman's great legacy, this spiritual drive to bring us together, this spiritual drive to overcome, to unite our head, to stop undermining one another, to stop the lie, to stop the all-consuming lie, because we are living the all-consuming lie. The narrative drives the all-consuming fucking lie on a daily basis, and we all know it. Anyone with this ounce of, you know, knowledge and intuition knows this. Okay, we need to get back on path. And we get back on path by realizing our spiritual grounding, realizing that which gives us worth. Because without it, what are we? We're lost. Okay, we're lost in this dark hole, and we're sinking fast. So yes, spiritual connection. And the idea too, I've spoken about this before, that you would forget our great legacy. The idea, for example, that you might put out a product today on the market and your product brings in £100 billion, and the idea that you think you're entitled to that somehow, that you've forgotten the soldiers who died for freedoms, that you've forgotten the people who put alphabets together so engineers could structure themselves. You know, alphabets led to literature, you know, the printing press, you know, knowledge, books being shared, more and more knowledge being shared, the exponential of it all increasing. Just think about all the permutations I'm talking about and how they've permeated all cultures. Mathematics and science and philosophy and spirituality and healing and so on. We're a big mix, a big mesh of so much movement, you know, so many permutations that have brought us to where we are on this day. And the idea that you think you can forget that you can stand back from it all and disconnect and tell yourself you're not spiritually connected to it, that all the pie is yours. Okay, if I put a product out in the markets today, it's because I can move it, I can shift it around the world because of alphabets, because of mathematics, because people made computers for us, microchips for us, because people built bridges, because people work on oil rigs to bring, you know, so our trucks can drive products around the world. Okay, it is all interconnected, and our spiritual capacity to think allows us to see that connectivity, allows us to connect to it, to extend and expand into it, okay, and to connect to it. So like I say, the idea you would lose your fucking place in the world to such a large degree that you would forget all of that and stand above it and wave your own fucking flag and take all the cake, like I said. That is a lack of spirit, and that is the house of Babel coming down on our heads in a nutshell. So anyway, that's how I see it. Anyway, yeah, I hope you can take something from that and maybe debate it with your friends, and please subscribe and share it. Share my channel. I'm rubbish at selling myself. But anyway, yeah, so thanks for tuning in. Peace and love and logic.